Hi, today we're going to talk about patterns and how we can adjust them for how we want to use them. So we previously calculated all my ancestors across both an apron of 30 inches and a robe of 60 inches. You can see that there would be more than a few ways of getting close to that 300 number so that you fit all my ancestors into the space that you have. And that you, even though it's a Ravenstail project, you can take out 2 warps or up to 4 warps to accommodate what your needs are. So if you came up with the number 296, then you're 4 warps away, and so you'll want to take it out, well, both sides, 2 on the right side and 2 on the left side, and those 2 would be taken out on different places on those sides so that there's no gap that you leave. And you cannot really take out more warps than that, because then you'll start moving and getting cinched in on your project, and you don't want that. Then after you get through with the accommodating the count that you need for your units, and then you start weaving, what you can do is add warps back. So if you took 4 warps, 2 warps on the right side and 2 warps on the left side, and then you finished all my ancestors, but you wanted those warps back in there to be part of the count of your central design. And before you get into the next pattern, then you would need to add the warps and the number that you took away. So even though it's Ravenstail, we want to always keep everything even, you still can take away a few warps if you need to. Okay, so it was all my ancestors, and usually all my ancestors can top a concentric pattern style robe, and it can top a compact patterned robe. Both of them, it's a favorite pattern. And when you do the concentric pattern robe, the one that has ground twining, then most likely your side borders are not going to, they're going to come down the sides in a spiral weft patterning. So, but if you're doing a compact pattern style Ravenstail robe, then usually that all my ancestors turns into, along the side, a vertical border, a compact pattern border of what I like to call tree shadow. And usually it just works, that tree shadow just goes right into, all my ancestors goes right into the tree shadow, and it matches right up usually to a couple of the design elements of the all my ancestors. So that's what happens. But also, when that happens, you do not use a 3-strand to separate those. It goes right into the tree shadow, no separation. This is an example that I want to show you how the spiral weft here does not come off of a 3-strand. The 3 strands that surround that hood of the raven goes only to the edge of where the spiral weft is going to be. So you see it running below the raven's hood, but it turns that corner just on the sides. And here is another example of where that spiral weft does not come off of a 3-strand. It comes right out. It's also an example, this is Marie Oldfield's weaving, and she did a wonderful job making those spiral wefts so even because she's not dealing with compact or ground twining. She's dealing with compact twining, compact where the rows are pushed up against each other. Here's an example too of where this is not cut with a 3-strand. It goes right, the raven's tail geometric pattern on the top goes right into the spiral weft without delineating it. It also is a good example of the selvage pattern that is way up there above, just almost below, peeking there out below the fur, and then comes down out. Now here is I think this is my first curved style apron, and you can see that again, the side border does not come off of a 3-strand. It goes right into from the upper border to the side borders. So there's an example of the curved style apron that Bonnie was interested in. Other people might be interested in getting direction with that. Here is Terry Rothkar's DNA one, and again, it is not coming off of a 3-strand. It goes straight in from the upper compact geometric patterns. So that's just an example that I wanted to point out to you. The inside of the All My Ancestors will be delineated with a 3-strand braid, but it will go on the inside edge of that spiral weft. So it isn't traditional in Raven's Tail to delineate with any 3-strand braiding the All My Ancestors and then the border that comes down underneath the All My Ancestors, be it a compact pattern or be it a spiral weft pattern. So I want to again stress about the things. There is the 2 styles, but there is always a heading on those 2 styles, and there will always be a selvage pattern around your object. That is a traditional way of handling the perimeter of your Raven's Tail object. Always a selvage pattern that runs right below the heading area, and then it runs along the side, outside, right, usually right after the side cords. Then it runs along the sides, and then it turns the corner and it runs below the last border and before the footing. So then the last section of weaving would be the footing, and then the fringe row. The fringe row is something that is traditional for robes and for aprons. That's a very traditional way of really getting your fringe forward and looking fuller. But as far as smaller objects, like people sometimes in classes will encourage you to do the fringe for the last row of your object, but I find that the fringe row, that last stitch that causes the fringe to push forward, is like the weakest link. It's where if you use your purse or your other small objects that you're making often or in dance, then sometimes that fringe row will pull out, and you'll have to keep repairing it. So I usually don't try to put that extra oomph on the fringe in smaller objects. But with aprons and robes, I do. So now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of patterning. And the last session you saw that you really have to think through, especially if your pattern is a pattern that has black, white, white, black, black, white, white, black. You need to figure out the how long a unit you're going to do. The lightning pattern. Now that lightning pattern, as long as it started in a consistent manner, that lightning pattern can go all the way across your robe and end any which way. So as far as the lightning pattern, you would maybe have a black vertical bar at the end, because maybe you set it up so that it started with a black vertical bar. But the lightning pattern is an easy pattern that goes and that can go clear across your object without calculation. That's the same with Raven's Hood. Raven's Hood's a nice easy one. Anyway, you'll always start it in a consistent way, and then it can go all the way the length without worrying about the different size units. So Raven's Hood is a nice one. The diamonds one is also another one that once you start it, I think I'm holding it upside down. Once you start it a certain way, you follow the pattern with the start for sure. Then you start recognizing the rhythm. Like maybe it's over 4, an over 4 twine, and then over 2, over 2, over 2, over 2, over 4, over 2, over 2, over 2, over 2, over 4. You know, there's a pattern to the count.